David Reece and Bangalore Choir released their debut album in 1992. They'd been courted by all the major US record labels, and even David Coverdale refused to have them on tour with Whitesnake when he heard David's voice. On Target was released the same week as Nirvana's debut, and the history of that we have covered here at Metal Talk already. Fast forward to this week, and it's exciting to say that Bangalore Choir's new album, Centre Mass, is out tomorrow, backed with their epic performance from Hamburg last September. I'm delighted to welcome once again to Metal Talk David Reese, the man whose music has made me almost miss my train stop on more than one occasion. David, how you doing?
My sincere apologies. If I can make somebody miss a train with my music, I guess that's a good sign. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing good.
Good to see you.
Thank you. I'm really into Centre Mass, I have to say. It's a great listen. How do you feel getting the Bangalore Choir name back out there?
It was one of those things where a record company guy was like, I was at the Hamburg show. Dave, you got to do it again. And I was like a little bit hesitant, because they really wanted to fire up, try to rekindle On Target.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a tough task. But I think I relatively succeeded in some of the songs. Trying to go back in time 30 plus years was not easy. But I'm proud of it. Yeah, it's
cool.
A great body of work. And I've got a great band. The guy. Were you at Hamburg?
No, unfortunately not. It was on my to-do list, but I couldn't get a pass from the wife.
Yeah, well, you know how that is. You get the stink eye for another year. You don't need that. But yeah, it was an amazing show. We played the Friday. We sold it out. Kudos to Oliver Langa and the organization, Maktala, and the response was nuts. And the feeling was just right,
Cool.
So then I got calls.
Yeah, you're sounding great. The healthy tomato and pasta Italian lifestyle must suit you well.
Working on it, alcohol free, like we said before. Trying to take care of the body and the voice, which is all one. So I appreciate it. I do the best I can.
Cool. Centre Mass, yeah. I have to say, from the opening riff of the first track, Spirit Rider, I was sucked in. It's kind of edgier than On Target in sound, yeah, but the spirit of Bangalore Choir is definitely there. I mean, it's got a great melody to it. How did you get the new guys up to date with the band's history?
Well, it was, we've been playing the songs. I have to give a shout out to those guys. Niccolo Savinelli and his brother Nelo Savinelli, and actually the drummer Nelo is playing with Iron Allies now. Sadly, Francesco had to bow out due to personal reasons with family, and we were in kind of a crux. So, being that I played with Nelo, I said, "Hey, let's just call Nelo," and he came and did some gigs with us in Bulgaria a few weeks ago. So, but I gave a shout out to the brothers and Riccardo Di Morosi, who is the bassist. They live literally in my village. My studio that Ricardo owns is 15 minutes from my house. So rehearsing all those songs, they kind of got it. And what's really extraordinary about those guys is that, they came up in the 90s, when this music kind of flitted off. But they pour their heart and soul into rehearsal, for preparation for shows. They really study each part. And I'll go to rehearsal and I'll do the set. But they've already been there doing the set two times prior to me going there. And then when I leave, I go, "What are you guys going to do?" They go, "Oh, we're going to stick around and run it a couple more times." So
cool.
Nothing but respect. Those guys are total pros.
I mean, straight away on Spirit Rider, you've got the signature dual guitar there. There's that great pre-chorus, and then there's a banging great riff under the ripping solos. Yeah, it's a really cool opening.
Thank you. Christian Tola and I wrote that together. He and I have done some stuff before, and I reached out to him because he was a big BC fan. He wrote the riff, and then I just kind of started putting the pen to paper, and that popped out. And I think Ricardo wrote the middle part for it. But yeah, Christian Tola was on that, and another couple shout outs. I was able to reach Ian Mayo from the original Bangalore.
Wow.
And he wrote Back to You with me. Getting the original guys together, impossible. That most of them have retired, moved on. So I've also got Jimmy Bell from Autograph on a track. Wrote a song with me, played solos. Ooh. And the great Mario Percadani. He and I wrote Back to Life. Without You, Heat of the Night,
right,
and Blame It on Me, I think. Okay. So yeah, the collective, I'm gifted to have, blessed to have so many great musicians around me. I attract them, you know, it's cool.
Oh, cool. Oh, you mentioned Back to Life. I love the opening there. It kind of made me feel quite a bit 90s, yeah, but it's not dated in sound by any means. There's a great melody you've got there over a crackingly heavy riff, yeah. Yeah, you must have had a lot of fun singing over these.
Yeah, well, Mario had originally written that to present to Johnny Gioeli, the music, and Johnny didn't feel it. And I went to Mario and said, "Hey, we've got Without You and you know, the other ones." And he goes, "You know, I got this riff that Johnny wasn't too excited about. Let me play it for you." And I went, "That's it."
Yep.
So even though those guys, there's a couple guys guessing on guitars, but Niccolo, I wanted him to show his prowess as a guitar player doing the solos and most of the stuff. But yeah, Back to Life's a good one.
Nice, nice. And then you're into classic ballad territory with I Just Want to Love You.
Yeah, and that one was co-written with Martin Kronlund. And I know you're aware with Reese Kronlund thing. And actually, Martin and I are writing songs right now. Possibly for a follow-up Bangalore record or another Reese Kronlund album. We've scratched the surface. We've got like 6 songs recorded. I don't know where it's going, but Martin is another one that I have to give a shout out to. He's a great songwriter.
If you're talking names, yeah, I hear on the grapevine you've been back in touch with Andy Susamil.
Yeah, I'm in touch with Andy weekly. Actually, I've recorded a complete solo album with the guys here in Italy. Oh God, 6 months ago, I was in the process of writing and recording, and they're these young guys. You know, they put in that heavy edge that I need, like Cacophony and Blacklist. But Andy, I called him one day and I said, "Hey man, I'm about 3 songs shy of being satisfied." And he goes, "That's interesting," because he was working with another singer and they had a falling out. And he goes, "Let me send you these tracks." And I took 2 from Andy for this solo thing. But we're blood brothers. It's 40-year relationship.
Yeah. Cool. Heat of the Night is cool. I love the riff there. Another cracking melody. Blame It on Me is awesome. Laid back, a real acoustic gem. You know, your voice is still strong. Yeah. Impressive. Yeah. I love that track. Yeah. Blame It on Me. That's a cool.
I wrote that with Mario. I mean, and actually Mario did play acoustic on that, and he played lap steel along with it. So if you listen to the mix carefully, he's doing some really cool acoustic lap steel work in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Just picking out some more tracks. Downtown with the Devil. That's really great. A kind of down-tuned stomper. Great opening vocal there. You give it a good old scream, like that.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Bell. Jimmy and I go back years and years. You know, he's with Alcatraz now. Or, I mean, Autograph now.
Yep.
That's a good one. Well, like I said, it's hard to recreate, you know, 3 decades of On Target. And the other albums that I've done, like Cadence and Metaphor, you know, they really didn't. I mean, Cadence got a lot more kudos than Metaphor did, but I've targeted, for lack of a better word, trying to go back and dig out that feeling,
that vibe. Yeah. No, I mean it's updated. Without You, that's one that's going to sound really great live. So I love the riff. I love the riff there. You have tour plans?
Huh?
You have some tour plans?
Yeah, we actually just played 2 weeks ago. Well, it was ironic because the week before that, I did Japara Rock with Iron Allies, and I was booked the following Saturday in Bulgaria again with my solo band. So we showcased some of these new songs, and it worked. People were like, "What's that?" Like, well, that's the new record. You know, I would shout it out. They didn't know what I was talking about, but afterwards I could explain it. But yeah, we have January booked, and then I've got shows with Blaze Bailey in Sweden, and some other Swedish shows in April, I believe. Yeah, and Denmark. So we're going. We've been playing. I mean, we played Switzerland together. We, a couple shows. They're a riot. I mean, those guys keep me young. I mean, it's like I could be their father. I mean, that makes me look bad, but I mean, it's cool because it's like you get in the vehicle with them, and it's just like it's a crack up, especially two brothers. I mean, they're fighting all the time, but they love each other dearly. It's like my sons, they fight all the time, but they love each other. It's hilarious.
While the Bullets Fly, I was kind of listening to that. Is that a new song or is that an older song?
That's a new one. Ricardo came up with that music and sent it to me one day, and I was like, "That's really cool." And I'm a big Greg Allman fan, so, and Tom Petty, and I come from that era, and it just hit me. I'd kind of been in a phase of listening to Greg Allman's last solo album for a while, and I think he might even have a song called "Bullets Fly." I don't know, but it just felt right. And when it feels right, my hand goes right to the paper and I start scribbling and singing in another phone. And if it sounds like it fits, then I know that I can put my feet in it and I'll go and track it.
Okay,
but
cool,
I give Ricardo credit for that. He came up with that.
Cool. And obviously we have to mention If the Good Die Young Part 2. I mean, that's pitched differently from Part 1. There's a cool Queen style backing vocal in there.
You nabbed it. An interesting story about that, brother. The original Good Die Young on Target, we had a drummer in the beginning. When I left Accept, I joined up with this drummer in Minneapolis. We got in the van, we said, let's go to LA. He had gotten mixed up with nefarious activities and been fired from Hurricane Alice. But he had built a relationship with Stevie Nicks and her manager and the Whitesnake management and all that stuff. He said, I got the contacts. Let's go. You've got the momentum. And while we're in rehearsal one day, he said, do you know that song, If the Good Die Young Will Live Forever? I go, no, I've never heard it. Well, a friend of mine who I had played with, which I'll get to later on, hopefully, in this conversation, his name is Bryn Arns from Minneapolis, had a band called Obsession. And I was the original singer for Obsession. Well, they had written that song with that title. Well, he gives me the title and said, well, it's a song from Obsession, this title. I said, well, there's a million Heartbreakers, I Love You songs. So I said, okay. So we just started plinking around with the original, and John Kirk, to his credit, finished it in 15 minutes. So it became one of our anthem songs. Well, anyway, Britt and I have since actually Wind Behind My Back. Bryn is part of that, and the Nazareth cover was his idea.
Right.
So we started talking, and he said, Dave, you should re-record my version of Good Die Young and call it Part 2. So I put a little trick here and there in it, and then he said, let's do some Queen stuff in there, Ba, da, 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 da. And then we're both Queen fanatics, so yeah, it's kind of a shocker. Some people are like expecting a big long ballad.
Right. Yep.
Totally opposite.
Yeah, I have to say I was expecting it. I was expecting a kind of ballad, but no, it's a cool stomper. It's a cracking track. Yeah.
Yeah. And with Bryn, we've all kind of resurfaced. It's really strange in this business how everything goes full circle, right?
Yep.
We've all been in contact, and what we're going to do is a thing called Spirit of 76, and we're just going to play the classics of that era, copy tunes.
Cool.
And I'm flying to the United States, and we have dates booked in October. And we've got Tommy Dades on bass from Tommy Lee's band. Bunch of guys that came out of Minneapolis that kind of made it. And I'm stoked about it because we're doing the Nazareth stuff. We're doing Aerosmith, you know, we're doing Zeppelin,
Wow.
Queen, and we've sold out the first show in like 3 days. So
Excellent.
it'll be great to, you know, go and hug a bunch of old friends that I haven't seen for 40 years. You know, we all started there.
Cool. Sounds a good trip. Obviously, as part of the package, yeah, you've got the Hamburg live show on there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just one night opens that, yeah, and straight away when you listen to it, yeah, you know, the boys, you know, your boys are absolutely spot on, yeah. You know, it's not the original lineup, but they've certainly got the spirit and the sound and the feeling in there. It's really
hats
cool.
off to Jackie LeMan too, you know, from Saxon, the sound man who did sound that night. He actually asked me after sound check. He was like, "Wow, what a band, man!" I'm like, "Yeah, these guys are good." He goes, "You want me to record this show?" And I was like, "Yeah, how much?" And we agreed on a price, and he did all the tracks, filed everything separately, and we had a live recording. And when I was talking to Giles Lavery, I said, "You want to just throw this on there?" And I asked Oliver if it was okay, and he said, "Absolutely." Yeah. So that was just like a little kicker for the fans, you know.
Yeah, no, I love that. Makes me more desperate to see you live. You got any more shows with the German planned
for Iron Allies?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just confirmed Grass Pop for next year.
Excellent.
We confirmed the big one in Czech Republic. The name slips my mind right now. It's 50,000 people. We're working with RTN, Rock the Nation Booking. They're pulling off some big shows. I think 2023 is kind of funneled itself out with all the backlog from the pandemic. Yep. So now the promoters have seen what we've done. I did a live video of, oh God, what was it? Fear No Evil in Bulgaria, and had Nicolo, the guitar player that I work with, edit it and put everything together. So as soon as I did that and put it out on social media, all of a sudden promoters started going, okay, it's a real thing. There's an audience there. They took it a little bit more seriously. So that was effective. You know, they got to see heads in the crowd.
Yep.
You know, they don't want to see a side film stage and then nothing in front. You know, this is from behind, side, in front, behind, and there's an audience there. There's something to this. So yeah, that's looking really good. And Herman and I are kind of fiddling around with new ideas. We had 6 tracks left from the first album, and I love them as much as the others. So who knows? Most of them will probably end up on the next album.
Cool. So it's great. There's plenty going on. Solo album?
Yeah. I've actually submitted it to a few labels, and you know, not to be honest, it's records aren't selling. People need to buy physical because the budgets are just low as low can be. I mean, I think the old blues players that started out like Howlin' Wolf got better deals then than are being offered now.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's ridiculous, and I can't release records for zero. But it's in the bag. It's recorded. It's mixed. It's mastered.
Cool.
Yeah, it rocks. It's some serious stuff.
Awesome. So best of luck with Centre Mass. I hope it does well. I really love it. And it's great to see the Bangalore Choir torch still going. Desperate to see it live. Any message for the fans?
Thanks again. I mean, the brand, the name, I mean, especially like UK and some European markets, that band, I mean, Just One Night, Loaded Gun, those songs are timeless. When I play them, people are singing them, and I'm like, well, what is this? Because I was told it was over. And when you open up with Just One Night, everybody knows it. So I didn't know that the record was a success in Europe because I was told that rock was dead. Had I known, I think we talked about, I would have put everybody on a plane and couched it and played, you know, coffee houses and kept going. But because, you know, grunge didn't really hit your area till maybe a year or two later.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion. But yeah, you know, you had Firefest. I mean, that was insane. I mean, people went absolutely crazy when we played there. You know, so I just want to say thank you, and thank you to you, and buy physical, because it's becoming dire. I watched Derek Trucks last night on a podcast, and he's got a giant band with his wife, and he basically said records don't sell anymore. We have to tour. They're doing 300 shows a year.
Wow.
You know, he can do that because of his lineage, but it's getting pretty rough out there, man.
Cool. So look, best of luck, and thank you for your time again, David. Yeah.
Thank you, my brother. I'll have more news for you soon, and I'll keep you abreast.
Awesome. Brilliant. Cheers, David.
Love you. Thanks, everyone. Ciao.
Cool.